Hi, Aries Sun and Rising. This is a video about Jupiter transiting Pisces for a few months in 2021 and then for a lot of 2022 and how that affects you. And this is in your 12th house. So the 12th house is Pisces house since you are the template for the universal chart as the ruler of the first house, Aries. And this can be the sun or the rising sign that you are listening to this for. And the 12th house and Pisces and its ruler, Neptune, is all about the spiritual dimensions. It's about the dream state. So, we have the waking state and we have the dream state. And what does the dream state mean? It means when we are not conscious, when we are in a different, in an altered state, if you will. I guess, I don't know if you would consider that an altered state, but you're in a different state. And the 12th house is actually it says here the subconscious mind. I've heard the unconscious mind. I think the 8th house is really connected to the subconscious mind. Now, I want to tell you that I compiled my list based on information I received on cafeastrology.com, where I use their ephemeris. What's the plural of ephemeris? Ephemerisi? Ephemerises? And so they have a great listing of transits through different houses. They have like a lot there, so that's why I've been consulting that particular site. And so they said the subconscious mind. And so to me, the difference is that with the subconscious, you're still aware that there's something with a certain theme that is lurking beneath the surface, but you might not really be bringing it up completely and totally aware of every aspect of something, but you know it's there. Unconscious to me is like past life memories that are deeply buried. And the 12th house can be past lives, but that's all semantics. We'll just call it the subconscious mind. So anyway, the 12th house we could just label as a spiritual place. It's not a practical place like the opposite house, the 6th house that the opposite sign, Virgo, rules about day-to-day events or routines, and the house of work and things like that. The 12th house can be the house of charity. So the house of volunteerism. And so it's working without expecting anything in return. And that's a big quality of the 12th house, is that's a house of sacrifice. Pisces is a sign that's associated with being sacrificial. So on my list here, one of the things I put is that you have a guardian angel watching over you at this time. And Aries, I was going to say Aries needs a guardian angel, right? Because you tend to be very, like you tend to be a daredevil, liking to do things that are kind of like living on the edge, let's put it that way. And so having a guardian angel doesn't hurt. Well, it doesn't hurt any of us, let's face it. And this can affect your life in many different ways. I think that there's going to be a strong spiritual connection for you. You have Neptune in this house as well, so you already have Neptune here. So this is just going to enhance some of that, because Neptune is a ruler of the 12th house in its own sign. And now you have Jupiter here, and Jupiter is the ruler of the 9th house, which is Sagittarius house, my sun sign. And that is the spiritual teacher. So for some Aries individuals, you may meet a spiritual teacher. You may long to become a spiritual teacher, and that can include a yoga teacher or a meditation teacher, that kind of thing. And speaking of which, this is related to all of that. Meditation is favored right now. This might be more emphasized in your life. The spiritual life is elevated. So you might be going on retreats. The 12th house is a house of solitude, and retreats are like kind of meditation, but by yourself. And retreats are wonderful. You know, they're a wonderful way to kind of, tune out the world and tune into yourself. And when they are in beautiful natural surroundings, that can certainly assist it, unplugging from electronics and that kind of thing. I was thinking of that Vipassana. Is that how you say it? I always say it wrong. Vipassana. I think I'm saying it right now. And I've mentioned this before. I haven't done it. I've been tempted to or wanting to. I go back and forth on whether I do. But it's a 10-day meditation retreat, and they teach you how to meditate, but you can't do anything other than meditate. And you do it for like 12 hours a day. You do have lectures and break periods and things like that, but it's like an intensive. And some people have said they've had very profound experiences. You can certainly find out about it on YouTube, where some people give their take on how it affected them and so on and so forth. So this is a really important area in your life. Jupiter is a big planet, the biggest planet, so it wields a lot of influence. At least I think Vedic astrologers look at it that way and really honor it, even though it's not a personal planet. I I checked out a book from the library that was all about your Jupiter sign. Some of you may know what I'm talking about. I think it has a yellow cover, and it just was published within the last 5 years or so, I think, and it was very interesting. And it seemed like I think it was more based on Vedic astrology, even though they didn't use that terminology, but they really seemed like they believed in how Jupiter affects us personally. And so if you're more interested in Jupiter, your personal Jupiter placement, you can certainly try to find that book and read it. But anyway, other things that are happening for you is that, like, you can be connecting with your subconscious mind. I would put in that category like hypnosis, past life regression in particular. This is the house of karma. So definitely, if that's something that you're looking for. I'm not saying you have to do that, though. I'm just saying you may find yourself having the opportunity. Your dream state might be more active and it benefits you in some way. Maybe you're having prophetic dreams. Maybe, Jupiter being the ruler of that 9th house, there can be Sag as a sage. And so that can increase your sagacity, I think they call it. Volunteer work is very gratifying. And you may really see how you profit, pardon the pun, from volunteer work. Working behind the scenes in something. Now, I put here benefit from working behind the scenes. And I thought, well, who the heck is working behind the scenes? But an example would be if you have a goal in mind and it really is still in its early stages. And the typical thing for Aries people to do is broadcast it all over town. This is what I'm doing. It reminds me, it's so funny, it reminds me of one of my partner's friends who is an Aries. And my partner was trying to tell him how to win back this woman who he had broken up with, or who had broken up with him. And just like these strategies to get her back. And so he told her everything. I'm going to be nice to you. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Because he's an Aries, and he just gave away the whole game plan. And he didn't keep it close to his vest. He just like spilled the beans. And that is like typical Aries, because you're above board. You don't have this artifice. So I'm certainly not saying, oh, wow, that was terrible. That's cute to me. So you may find that if you're working towards a particular goal, that if you typically have given everybody the play-by-play on it, that this time you're going to, keep it to yourself until you're ready to launch, or until you've already launched. Because it is possible that in the past you had people that were naysayers. And Aries is a very positive sign. You also dream big. And this tends to bring out the Debbie Downers in the crowd. And these are people that get triggered by other people's dreams, because then they have to face the fact that they don't have any for themselves. And they feel like slugs. So the point is that rather than allowing somebody to kind of rain on your parade, I was going to say piss on your parade, but instead of doing that, I just snorted on my recording, but that's okay. Just keep it to yourself, and then when you launch, it's like a surprise attack, but in a positive way. It's like a surprise, not an attack, but a surprise. And then you have connected to it, and you don't have those doubts that might be planted. If somebody tries to plant doubts, it's like too little too late. So that can actually help you. It can be lucky for you, because Jupiter is a lucky influence for you to kind of be a little bit. It's not just about being secretive. It's also just about, being subtle and being savvy, and not giving away. And also it's like not giving away your ideas either to somebody else who might take them and run with them. And what else I want to tell you? Oh, one of the big ones is, I was talking about working behind the scenes. You might be seeing someone on the down low. And I don't mean like you're going to be cheating on somebody. I mean, you might just want to have that kind of association without other prying eyes, putting their 2 cents in. Now, I confess I don't know why they put that there in terms of Jupiter, because Jupiter I don't associate with romance. Jupiter isn't about romance, so I don't know why they are saying that. Venus in the 12th. If Venus is transiting the 12th house, that can be the case. So I'm just regurgitating what I've read on cafeastrology.com. So I'm just going on record as saying I'm not quite sure what the connection is between Jupiter and love, but putting it out there. But the thing that I really want to say is ridding yourself of self-defeating patterns, fears, and addictions. The 12th house is called sometimes the house of undoing, or self-undoing, because it's a house where destructive tendencies can rear their ugly head. And that's because, I think it's because it's a karmic house. And I believe that a lot of bad habits are, or even good attributes, are due to past life connections. So it only stands to reason that ridding yourself of these things can kind of like help you for your future lives, so that you don't have to keep struggling with the same issue. And self-defeating patterns can run the gamut. Addictions are a big one, because addictions, when you have an addiction, like let's say you have a substance abuse issue, not only does that affect your health, physical health and mental health, but it can affect your bank account statement. It can affect, your job. You could, it could threaten your job. There's so many things, threaten your relationships. And so it can be disastrous on multiple levels. Fears, phobias that don't seem to have any connection to this lifetime, we might assume are from past lives. And I have a lot of phobias, and I don't have any planets in the 12th house. It's really crazy. And I always have. I've always had certain phobias. And addictions, okay, I talked about addictions, but other self-defeating patterns, I mean, just think about, for Aries, I would say one of them could be anger management issues. Learning how, it's not about controlling your temper, it's about learning how to constructively express anger, I think, more than anything. Because anger is a real emotion, so there shouldn't be any shame in feeling anger. The problem is when people have temper issues is because they explode. They don't have that simmering stage where they're kind of like getting mad and madder and madder and madder. They're just like a volcano just out of nowhere that just like explodes. I think even a volcano doesn't just, erupt. It takes time. But Aries people tend to be very rash about a lot of things. And that might be one of them too, is the tendency to be too impatient and do things rashly and then repent in leisure. So you can rid yourself of these patterns. Again, this may come from some kind of a spiritual healing modality that you come across, and that is very helpful, or some kind of a spiritual practice that you can do yourself. So whatever's clever. Okay, that's what I have for you, Aries. I hope that you are looking forward to this. I'm actually recording this on the day that Jupiter went into Pisces. So enjoy it while it lasts in the next couple of months, from May until late July. And then actually starting in June, Jupiter goes retrograde, but it does take time to go back into Aquarius, back into that 11th house. And then at the end of 2021, we will see Jupiter go back into Pisces and be there for, I think, a good portion of 2022. I haven't looked to see it exactly, but I will say that I guess in 2022, Jupiter's going into your sign. So you're going to have that Jupiter return. Well, Jupiter return would be when it goes back into your Jupiter sign. But we could say a conjunction with your sun or your rising sign, and in the first house, whether it's the solar or the natal house. First house. Okay, that's what I have for you, Aries. If you would like a personal reading, you can click on the link below and see what I have. I have some specials going right now, double readings. Thanks for listening. Take care. Bye.